And we is on YouTube. What it do, man? How's everybody doing? Guys, it is a wonderful Tuesday, October 28th. It is 6:44 p.m. I'm starting to see almost like a repeatance of me not being able to make this video until late. So for probably the next week or so, expect late videos, late posts. But I'm still coming through for you guys. I'm still putting in the work. Coming into this video, I'm going to be doing a breakdown of not only my trade that I took today, so for anybody that follows my socials or that is in Collectors Club has just been posted a few days ago. If you haven't joined that, join that. The link will be in the description. But I will be going over my trade that I took based off of 30-minute power of 3 and also explaining the teaching that I literally just announced to Collectors Club as a part 2 of yesterday's video. Yesterday's video was stating the study of AMDX and XAMD, such as the market profiles, bullish or bearish. And today was an extension part 2. Now the rest of this week is going to be additional studies to it because there's a lot of information that I need to cover. Okay, I'm going from almost an intermediate to an advanced to basically, what's the next word over advanced? Like S tier, right? Big on top tier of understanding. Okay, so I'm going to be doing that for the rest of this week. Coming into today, I'm going to be covering this first and then I'll do the trade. So I kind of just want to hop straight into this. For anybody in the Discord, as promised to all of Collectors Club, I released it and I hope you guys are enjoying this, that you guys are seeing this video. But let's hop into this, okay? The study of AMDX, XAMD market profiles as we know it, part 2. Okay, introduction. This study, as we know, will be a part 2 of our previous lesson posted yesterday prior to this, as part 1 was simply basic intermediate understanding of how AMD works, looks, how to implement, and if you need to, refer back to that if you haven't already. Coming into today's lesson, this part 2 will be covering the subjects such as how to identify AMDX and XAMD cycles for our daily, our weekly, and our monthly chart timeframes, as every single chart, every single time frame has its own cycle. Okay, this is very crucial. I want you guys to remember that. Second, we'll be going over how the study of QT or quarterly theory pairs with the understanding of our cycles, of the understanding of AMD every single day. Okay, hopping into the first one, how to identify them. When breaking down the understanding of how AMD cycles can be fractal meaning happening multiple times on not only the higher time frames but in that lower time frames, we can use this to our advantage to figure out bias days before they actually occur. Now this is massive. This is something I'm actually going to be talking about a lot more coming into tomorrow's video and tomorrow's study, diving deep down into the fact that economic news can play a big role into this and almost predicting what's going to happen Sunday. Okay, so AMD, like any other, as we know, has 3 stages plus 1 being our expansion phase, right? We have AMDX. What most don't realize is that our monthly, our weekly, and our daily cycles actually have their own individual AMDX and XAMD market profiles every single day. And honestly, guys, I said right here, I was mind blown originally. When I found out this information, long time ago, I was mind blown. So if you guys haven't learned this shit, you guys are like in for a freaking treat. Okay, this is crazy information. All right, so stating this as examples, this will be an example of a monthly profile. Now, if you guys are trying to look back at your charts to find this was literally this month of October's price report. Okay, as you can see, monthly opened right around here, and dividing this into 4 different quarters, we have our accumulation stage, our manipulation stage during the tariff dump, under the monthly open price. Now, I'll be diving deep into PO3 coming into next week, so I'm very hyped for that. That has to do with the monthly open price and why it is very important. Now, what do we get? Distribution after that, and then X being our expansion, which we are currently in right now. Coming down into it, what does a weekly profile look like? Keep in mind, this box of price action during the distribution phase on the monthly cycle, this right here is actually this weekly profile. So you can see that during our weekly profile of the month that we were just looking at, we have first expansion coming into Monday. Tuesday is our accumulation stage. Wednesday manipulates. Thursday and Friday both expand for our distribution. As we can see, we got a dip under the weekly open price as our pure manipulation, pumped after that as a bullish market profile. Then coming into this week, I dove down into one of the daily profiles. Oh, I'm sorry, this was actually today, for example. So this is great. I'll be going over this when I actually break down my trading execution. This is such what a daily profile bullishly looks like. Okay, daily opens during Asia. As we can see, this is our daily open price. We accumulate, manipulate under the daily open price, setting the stage for a bullish run. Then what happens? Distribution starts, and then we expand from it. Okay, so AMDX. All right. Now, how the study of QT or quarterly theory pairs with the cycles. Okay, diving a bit into the study of QT, we can actually use this to an advantage when searching for AMDX and XAMD cycles, whatever time frame that may be. Let's say this. Prices opening for the daily move that we obviously know being 23 trading hours. 1 hour downtime between 5 and 6 p.m. New York time. Between these 23 hours of market delivery, which we consider being daily cycles, okay? There's monthly cycles, weekly, daily, and in that 90-minute micro, all these different cycles, okay? Every 6 hours in the day divides us into 4 quarters between the day, delivering, which will happen to be different sessions. Okay, we have our 4 different sessions: our Asia, which is our 6-hour Q1, London 6-hour Q2, New York AM 6 hours Q3, and then New York PM 5 hours Q4. Okay, as we know, there's 23 hours, not 24 hours. Between each of these quarters, or sessions you may say, will deliver a specific portion of our AMDX XAMD market profile. Okay, now here's an example of this. Now I'm going to go over to my chart simply because this is the last thing I was looking at. This is how to break it down. Understanding that there's going to be 4 different quarters of the day, 4 different sessions, right? We have our Asia, our London, our AM, and our PM of New York. We can identify using the understanding of AMDX, XAMD, different market profiles, right? To basically ensure us what quarter after that we are in is going to do, and how to frame this not only for bias, but for volume, for volatility, for condition, for how much maybe risk you want to put up, right? This is going to tell you a lot of information. Breaking this down, we can see this is today's delivery. Coming into from Q1 to Q2, our first quarter, what did price do during Asia? Accumulation. What did Q2 do? Manipulate bearish. Now, refer back to yesterday's video. I stated that for a pure manipulation to occur, for a smart money reversal to occur, it needs to be coming down into a high time frame PD ray, which in this scenario was a 4-hour gap. I'll break this down right here. Go back to the 15. As we can see right here, that was the 4-hour gap that we needed to manipulate into during what? London Q2. Okay, so we now have accumulation, manipulation. What's above accumulation? Buy stops, engineered for what? The distribution. Now what happens? Next quarter opens up from 6 in the morning New York to 12. That 6-hour portion, obviously in the middle is our New York open. This is distribution. What price does is distribute to what? Above the highs from Asia, which is the resting buy stops. Then what does that create? New orders. Now refer back to yesterday's video. You guys will remember that. What is above here now? New orders. What does price do? Retraces into these orders to afford long positions, right? As a lot of people understand, is a breaker. Okay, so now we have new orders here affording long positions for smart money. What does price do? Is it starts pumping. 12 o'clock. Q4. What have we not gotten that the first 3 gave us? Expansion. And what does price do? Expands to higher highs. So you can see that using this information based off of what I said yesterday, now talking about today in the study, we can use this to our advantage of there are two different scenarios that we know. There's either AMDX or XAMD. If Asia is accumulating and not expanding from the day prior's delivery, we can know this as London's going to manipulate and morning open's going to be expanding from the distribution. Okay, because London's already setting the stage for a manipulation, meaning this is the low of the day. This is considered the smart money reversal, and this is a protected low. Okay, refer back to the first video if you need to learn more about that. Understanding this, if this was flipped vice versa, we would see expansion, accumulation, manipulation, distribution, meaning morning open 9 times out of 10 will dip down into a high time frame PD array before starting the distribution phase. Okay, I told you there's two different scenarios, XAMD or AMDX. How to identify, look at what the sessions prior to you did, what did it go into, and that's now your narrative. That's your bias, because now you entirely know what to expect. Okay? With this understanding that every day has its own market profile, we can use this to our advantage for not only bias, but expected volatility condition in the markets. Let's say this. We have two different market profiles as we know at AMDX and XAMD, both either starting with expansion, ending with distribution, or starting with accumulation, ending with expansion. If we know this, all we need to do is identify with a high time frame PD array, okay, when this reversal is bound to appearing in the charts, which I stated. London, high time frame PD array, 4-hour bullish gap. That was our PD array. That's setting the stage for the smart money reversal. Okay? Everyday questions to ask yourself when coming into the chart. Now, we just spoke about this. Does London manipulate into a high time frame PD array, proving AM or quarter 3 to distribute, which happened today, right? London proved that AM was going to pump, okay? Does London accumulate, proving Q3 manipulation? Does London accumulate not into a high time frame PD array, meaning Q3 AM is going to do it? Okay, that's a different scenario. That's meaning we have an XAMD scenario, not an AMDX like we did today. Okay, now that we understand all of this, I want you to sit back and think about this logically speaking. If price on lower time frames, remember this is fractal, AMD is fractal, such as daily cycles can move price through AMDX, XAMD movements between the 4 quarters of the day, right, every 6 hours, wouldn't logically price do the exact same thing on not only the weekly cycles, but the monthly cycles too? Okay, I want you to refer back to those pictures I gave us examples of above on the spreadsheet. Now the Notion link will be in the description if you guys want to refer back to it. On different time frame cycles above, and see how every time a new quarter opened up, a new section of our market profile initiated. Meaning on the monthly cycle, there's 4 weeks. Every week has its own quarter. On the weekly cycle, there's every day. Now there is 5 days of the week, but Monday to Thursday is the first 4 days considered the 4 quarters, Friday having its own set of rules. I'll be explaining this further in studies, but what I want you guys to realize, I told it down here, price is not random as you might think it to be. It's programmed by smart money above us to target against us, but I won't be part of the white sheep. I'll be purging those orders alongside them. Okay, so talking back into the fact of monthly and weekly cycles, what I want you guys to realize is that when these cycles occur, you can easily see this is our monthly profile, right? We were just looking at our daily profile. Keep in mind Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, which we are currently in. Looking on the week. Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. Crazy, huh? So this is how you are breaking down the month, the week, and the day. Is you are looking in depth at what cycle are you in during the month. Well, we'll logically talk about right now. We're in an expansion phase, right? Seeing that we're in an expansion phase, we're expecting to expand higher highs because of what distribution did. Now, why? Why not reversal? Because when manipulation occurs this large, we're expecting a distribution to be greater than that, meaning majority 2x. That's why I'm expecting bullish expansion. Okay, bias is bullish for the week. Come down into the week, right? This is not this week, but coming down into this week right now, if our bias is bullish, the weekly profile is going to be bullish. It's going to be a bullish weekly profile. Now, what has price done so far? Pumps. All it has done is pumped. Breaking down right now. What has the week done? Pumped, pumped, pumped. Why? Because we're in a monthly quarter, right? The week of expansion. What has price done? Expansion. That's as simple as it gets. And you're breaking down the week and you're finding what day are you in part of that. Okay, that is as simple as it gets. All right. Now, I don't want to waste any more time. I want to go over my trade that I did take today. I'm going to, okay, good. I'm actually in replay mode already. Gonna full chart this right here. All right, so this is my trade today. So I'm going to be going into power of 3 deeper into next week and how to identify them, but this is simply just a breakdown of how I took my trade today. Okay, coming into today, what was I trying to see? Well, market already was delivering bullish higher highs above everything that we were already seeing from before, right? I stated in my Discord on the 15-minute chart. Now, I'll actually refer back to that right now. Right here. Let me see here. I referred to everybody that we were in a market maker buy model, not only in the understanding of quarterly theory, but the understanding of market maker models, right? When price came down into here, we talked about it was inside of a 4-hour gap, which stated our smart money reversal. Okay, so I'm gonna say smart money reversal, which was also a market maker buy model. Okay, when this started, we already had our accumulation stage at the highs, our first stage of reaccumulation, our second stage of reaccumulation, smart money reversal, turtle soup into 4-hour. Then what price does? Let's see here. First stage, second stage. I'm sorry. First stage, second stage redistribution. Mark the high out, which was the accumulative highs. Takes it. So what am I expecting now? I'm waiting for price to balance out. Okay, now what I mean by this is if price is going to keep continuing to send higher highs with the understanding of monthly expansion in the week that we are currently in, I want to see price come down into a discount to afford us longs, meaning my bias coming into morning open was bearish. Now, does this go against trend? Yes, but does this go against the bias of AM 30-minute PO3? No. And I'll state that when I come down into the lower time frames, how our Judas proved that. Okay, stating here that this was the range that we needed. Mark this out right here. We could see 50% discount, right? Where does price stop? Discount. Where does price go to? Breaker, which we just spoke about. So I'll mark this out right here. This is our breaker discount range. Then coming down into the lower time frames, this is how I framed it. Morning opened. What does it do? It already gave us our accumulation stage coming into our 30-minute power of 3, right? What does 30-minute power of 3 mean? It means from 9:30 to 10 a.m. There's going to be its own cycle, 9 times out of 10, right? Not all the time, of AMD. What happens? Accumulation, morning opens at 9:30, as we can see, AM open price. Immediately, Judas to the high time frame highs. What's up here? There was a microcycle sequential SMT that gave me the ideal confirmation as our cracking correlation. Now, I think that was on a 5-minute. I do not remember. But microcycle occurred. I had a short position after price started displacing because of how YM was giving us delivery. There was a 1-minute change of state. Price delivered very nicely. I was up 1,000, retraced, hit my break even. What did I see? We came up into right here. OTE 705 golden area. Price started rejecting at it. What did I wait for? Change in state. Last bullish candle, change of state, broke it, entered short. What did I target? Accumulative lows. That's as simple as it got, and this is how it usually looks. Accumulation, manipulation, distribution. 30-minute power of 3, as we see right here. Open, high, low, close. All right, so that was the trade I took today. I posted all over my social medias if you guys want to refer back to that. But guys, I hope you guys learned something from this study today. There's going to be a lot more studies the rest of this week, and this is going to be, I'm going to be naming it on YouTube Snowski Teachings. I'm pretty sure. I haven't figured out a name for it just yet, but I'm going to be making a playlist, and if you guys want to refer back to all these videos one day and study them, get a better understanding of price and how I look at the markets, you are free to do so. If you have questions, you guys have Collectors Club at your disposal in the description. At me, ask questions, and guys, you guys know I love you. As always, I'll see you guys at the top. Peace out.